Good morning. Welcome to another installment. I believe this is the fifth of 2016 Taking Back Your Life series that we created here. So why did we create this series? Really, we created it to address mind, body, and soul. And I wanted to do it in a way where I invite people that I knew who were gurus or teachers or leaders in the different fields that we would cover. And I wanted out of the box thinking, holistic practices, people who touched on metaphysics or quantum physics, because we always hear about, I guess you would call it standard or typical ways that people can find success. But I really believe that the world is becoming more aware of different types of ideologies on how one can have a complete wholeness. And I think even though it tends to have a taboo when you talk about metaphysics, I believe truly that people are starting to resonate with what that principle means. And so I've had the pleasure of bringing on now four. This will be the fifth person who's going to talk about different genres. We want to cover all facets, but just from a different approach. And so without further ado, well, let me tell you who I am. I didn't even say who I am. All right. Who cares who I am? My name is Clark Garrison, and many of you know me as the host of The Conversation, where I've been hosting that show since 2010. I'm also the owner of Survival Radio Network, which is a online talk radio station that has over 40 shows broadcasting throughout the week. We have over 1.5 million listeners currently and growing. Our mantra really is to motivate, inspire, and educate listeners worldwide. And I believe we're doing an excellent job of that. But many of you don't know that I wrote a book back in 2009 called How to Survive the Next 365. And in that book, I did reach 12 principles, which to me, nothing new. Nothing's new is under the sun, but I rediscovered them for myself to help me through a crisis. That led on the whole journey that you guys have been following with me now for over 6 years. If you notice the title, How to Survive the Next 365, the survive stuck with everything that I wanted to push forward, because I believe if you don't have, it's like a Boy Scout, if you don't have your survival kit, there's not really much you're going to be able to do out there when the ish hits the fan. So I wanted to make sure that people went back and made sure that they had their bases covered. And a lot of that is just having fundamental principles and ideologies. So without further ado, let me introduce to you our guest today, this morning. I have to say morning. Sometimes we do this at night, but this is morning. She is a health coach for women entrepreneurs, an author, speaker, and the founder of Live and Thrive Health and Wellness Coaching. Please welcome the one and only Coach Angie K. What's up, Coach?
Hey, Clark. Thanks again for having me on.
You are welcome. I don't have my automatic applause machine. They're giving it up. They're giving it up for you. Hey, Coach, I've had the pleasure of speaking with you on and off air several times now over the last couple of months. And I really am excited about you coming on, because I follow you on Periscope a lot. And so I know the kinds of things you talk about, and how in depth that you get with your listeners as well as your clients. And so we're going to talk about health and wellness in its entirety in this 1 hour. We're going to try to fit it in at least. And I want to start with, because you have such an amazing story. You know, people look at you and they're like, wow, you know, she's fit, she's happy. Every time I see you, you're smiling, right? And that says a lot about what's inside of us. But they don't know that that comes from a place of struggle. Can you talk a little bit about how fitness found you?
Absolutely. And, you know, Clark, I'm so glad you asked this, because people do think that just because they see you as being fit, that you've never been where they probably are right now. And there's so many different levels to where people are in life. But I'll never forget where I was and the way I changed things around for me, or that point in my life where it was inevitable. Things had to change. Like I couldn't stay the same. And
Mm.
so I'll never forget it. I was actually in my bathroom. I had recently had a baby, and I actually, I'm in my 20s. I thought you just bounce back. Let's be clear. I was like, well, I see girls all the time. Like, I could just bounce back. Then it didn't happen overnight. And I waited a few months, still didn't happen. Waited another year or so, and I was like, okay. So I went from 128 pounds to about 190 plus pounds, and that thing didn't bounce back. So I was like, that baby wasn't even 8 pounds. So where is all this weight coming from, and how do I get this off? The one thing that I could remember feeling, and I'll never forget it because my husband actually said it, my husband actually said it. I was like, I don't feel like I am me anymore. Like I feel like I'm somebody completely different. And he didn't really say it that way, but he said, I can't wait till you get back to being you. Now, he probably on the surface just meant the happy, jovial, loving, kind you. But he didn't understand how deeply that resonated with me, because I didn't feel like myself at all. Then I started getting aches, pains, and I was only 27 years old. And I'm like, okay, this is not normal. And I was a girl who was jogging every day. I wasn't lifting weights and things like that, but I was jogging every day. I was really taking care of myself. And, pregnancy, much like any other stress that comes in life, man, it hit me. And like any other person, you spring into becoming a mom and you still got to work. And I was working, in the medical field. So it was on call overnight, hours upon hours. I just didn't get a chance to take the best care of myself. And I feel like all too often we all fall into that hole. So I started to do what anybody tried to do. I tried to dig myself out. What can I take? Who can I go see? What can I pay? What overtime do I need to work to make this happen? And I'll do it by any means necessary. And those things left me more malnourished, not just physically, but mentally, spiritually. And I had to come to grips with myself and say, number one, what do you really want? And number two, how do you intend to get that thing? And what I really wanted was wellness. I didn't want to have to piecemeal health and kind of sort of work out and try to fix these little pieces together and then fall off again. What I really wanted was sustainable, lifelong wellness. And I knew within me that once I figured it out, that I knew a lot of other people around me wanted it too. And so that was kind of that moment for me, and having to transition into that every day. I just read more, I study more, I learn more, and there's so many levels to it, and I'm just inspired to be able to give it to other people.
Well, and I love to hear, each time I hear your story, I hear a little bit more of it, and it just blows my mind, because you just can't sometimes imagine a person when they are where you found them, that they could have ever been anywhere else but there. So it's a testimony to your family, your support, and your will, which we'll get into just a little bit. But I want to start at nutrition, because it seems to me, and I could be wrong, that without thinking about or being educated to the fuel that we put in our bodies, working out and all of this other stuff, it could be for naught. So let's delve into that a little bit. When we talk about nutrition, the average goer that I've noticed, man, I even look on social media, and people have some horrendous shopping habits. You're laughing because right? That's probably the first thing you have to tackle when you have a client is, listen, let me ask you this. Here's a quick question. Do you ever talk about what they currently have in their cupboards or refrigerator?
Absolutely. I always do a virtual pantry clean out.
Really?
Absolutely. Yes, it's a part of an intensive session with me. But nutrition is never the first thing, because nutrition, the way I teach it, is a secondary food. The primary things are our finances, our spirituality, our home life, our relationships. All of these things drive what we choose to eat. And so I teach that as the primary source. And then we move into your cupboard and your nutrition, because I found that one of the reasons why people's shopping carts and their plates look like the way that they do on Sunday. I ain't got some Sunday plates, oh my God. But one of the reasons why they look the way they do is because we don't fully understand the value of food. We don't fully understand the value of what we're putting in our mouths and its ability to shape who we are, what we look like, and how we feel, the decisions we make, what we draw to ourselves. It's so much deeper than a piece of fried chicken. Like it's so much deeper than that. And when we understand that value, that changes everything.
How harmful are I don't know what category we could put them in, but processed foods. I guess that's because that is probably 60-70% of what we find in households today, because we're so conscious of speed, right? And so it's easier to get macaroni and cheese out of a box. It's easier to get your vegetables out of a can. God, that doesn't even sound right.
Boxes, bags, cans.
Yes.
And you're looking for that thing that grew out of the ground. Like, it's so far away from its original state that it's like, can you really call it food? And unfortunately, we pay for it. Like, we go give somebody our money for this stuff. That's the kicker, right? We actually pay for that white bread. And it's like, oh my God, they only gave you air. Like, there's nothing in it. There's nothing in it. There's no real value to it. So we got to start thinking about an even trade, right? Because we do it with everything else. We do it on our job, right? We do it in our business. We do it when we affiliate with people. What's the even trade-off here? What am I getting, right? It's just the nature of the way the world goes round. But we never stop to look at what we're doing with our plate, man. We never stop to look at and say, okay, I paid for this. What is it? Like, what is it going to give me back? Is it going to regenerate cells? Is it going to boost my brain energy so I can make some more money? What is it going to give me back? We never stop to even think about that. And that's something that we have to understand when it comes to the value of food. It is the pivotal cornerstone of every single thing you do from that point on. Like, it's everything. It's everything. 80% of how you look and how you feel is what you put into your mouth, period. That's how that goes. So now when we understand that value, then we can start adding the adjunct pieces, fitness here or there, right? Then we can start adding some other pieces to it to make it this holistic wellness thing for us.
So I guess it goes back to that whole, it's always going to seem to come back to the mindset has to be changed first before you can understand why you should not get your vegetables out of a can, right?
Ooh, yes. It's so far from the original state of things. And let's be clear, we are in a hurry. The more people becoming, you said this word awake or aware, which is such a huge word. And I love to hear it. And I love to hear more people say it because it's what's happening. And as we all become more aware, we start to do things that are conducive to humankind, to move us all forward. We're moving faster. Like, the world really is speeding up. It's not just in our heads. It is speeding up, right? It's speeding up for kids. It's speeding up for adults. It is speeding up. And we pick stuff up, man. Boxes, bags, cans. It's just what we've got. But there has to be a way for us to stay ready. Like, put a system, put a strategy into place so that you're always ready with something to go that's going to give you something back. So it can still be done even if the world is speeding up.
So let's transition to I guess in the last 5 years, it's become the it word, which is organic. So when we're shopping now, I find people are looking for organic, but don't necessarily know what that means, right? They just know it's the it word. And what's really funny now is companies are hip to it. So I've seen a special where they're starting to even put that on their labels, and it's not. So how can we protect? First of all, what is it, and how can we protect ourselves from knowing what we are getting?
This is a great question. Oh, this is awesome. So, and I love to talk about this too, because I think that you ever heard somebody say you fell for the okie doke? That's what that is, right? So I'm not impressed if your house is filled with organic stuff. Here's what's going on, right? So first of all, organic in and of itself means that something has not been grown with the use of pesticides, hormones, anything to aid its growth. It grew the way it naturally was supposed to. It didn't get anything to speed it up. It didn't get anything to keep rodents away from it. It didn't get anything on it that way, right? It didn't get any wax on it, because they put wax on food to ship it around, because when you go buy your apples, they know you're not going to buy it if it's bruised. You don't want your bananas and stuff all messed up, and you don't want your bananas green, so they can put ethylene gas on it to make it yellow. Like, they can put different things on things to make it look good to you, because they know you are going to fall for the okie doke. You're going to go and buy it, right? And that's fine. It's just a matter of you being aware of what's on it. Here's what I say about organic, because I don't believe that you should break, and some people may not agree, but I don't believe in breaking the bank to go and buy organic. I don't. I believe in you knowing where your food comes from, and then I believe in you having a system for when you buy things. So there's a ton of different organic washes out there that you can actually make and soak your stuff in to get the pesticides and things off. So yes, water, plain water, is not going to break this stuff and pull it off of what you're eating. So you got to make some kind of organic wash, and there's several different recipes. You can find them on YouTube. You can Google and find them online. They're everywhere. They're not hiding. So you don't have to break the bank with organic. What should you be buying organic though? If you say, well, I do want some stuff organic, buy the things that you know you're going to eat the peel. Okay. So if it's like a banana, if it's like a pineapple, if it's a pomegranate, you're not going to eat that peel. You're going to take that off and you're going to discard it. So that can be bought regular. You don't have to buy that organic. Now, things like pears, plums, grapes, apples, these things, lettuce, that don't have a peel or something that you're going to eat anyway, buy those things organic. Okay. And so when you're talking about organic, let me put this out there. When you say they're labeling it one way and it's really not, well, that's true. Because if I'm a farmer, as long as a certain percentage, 10% or so of my crop is organic,
oh wow,
I can label the whole thing organic, right? Right. So the rest of this GMO stuff, pesticide filled stuff, hey, you know, it's kind of guilty by association, right? It's all organic as far as I'm concerned, right? And there's no one policing this to actually prove it. So what do you have to do? So that's why I'm not impressed when people say, well, I buy all organic. I'm like, good for you. Unless you know the farmer and his methods, you fell for the okie doke. Like, you're more than likely falling for the okie doke. But I want people to understand that this is not just on the farmers, right? Our country, our government is not subsidizing farmers who are non-GMO. They're not subsidizing them. So these farmers are at your local farmers markets and places trying to piece their income together to give you real food. That's what they're trying to do, because they're not getting these subsidies from the government. And in many cases, if you partner with them, they'll give you your food for free. Like, people don't even understand that they will actually give you highly nutrient dense stuff for free. So not only do you get to build a relationship with the hands that are actually touching your food, but they will actually supply your home with the things that you need to keep your body healthy long term. So a lot of people don't know that. And, you know, so I'm not impressed that you went to Kroger, you went to Publix. I don't even care. Like, I have to be honest about that. Like, I don't even care. Like, because I know that deep down at the root, you just pulled for convenience and went to the store and grabbed some stuff that you thought was organic, and you really don't even know where it came from.
So two quick things I want to ask that you brought up. When you talk about knowing where your food comes from, what do you mean by that statement?
Where it was produced. Know what grows where you are. Okay. So for instance, there are certain fruits and vegetables that are not grown here. And how do you find this out? Well, you can ask a farmer, because they'll be more, they know. People don't understand what goes into farming. The farmer, for you to grow things successfully year after year after year, reap large crops of things and get them to grow, it takes a certain science. It takes knowing moon cycles. It takes a deeper level of spirituality that people are not even aware of. And so when we understand this, we look at farmers very, very differently. you know. And many people look at farmers like, oh, you know, he's got with the overalls and the toothpick. A lot of these people are multimillionaires and they don't even freaking know it. So they walk past this cat with the overalls on like he doesn't know anything. He just plays in the dirt. And you are passing up this complete wealth of knowledge right before you. So ask these people what grows here, and they'll tell you, don't even begin to try to plant that. Or if you go buy it, trust me, it came from China because we don't grow it here. So it's that kind of thing. Just ask these simple questions. It's their zone of genius. Just ask them. They'll tell you. They'll be more than happy to share.
And then just you touched on it a little bit, but let's put it in caption. Market shopping versus grocery shopping.
Mm-hmm. Because everybody's in the grocery store, right?
Right.
Yeah. So market shopping, what's going to happen is you'll get to build that relationship, right? And people can tell you when they grew the crop, it's fresh, man. A lot of times when things come from the market, they literally pull that thing out of the ground and brought it to you. And it's so amazing to be able to have that. But when we're talking about going to the store, one of the things that actually piqued my interest years ago, and it's one of the reasons why I decided to take this path and go back to school and learn this thing and really get into it, was when somebody said, all of this stuff in the store, even the produce, is the least nutrient dense stuff you could ever buy or eat. So when you think that you're getting lettuce organic because it's in Publix and it looks good, it's nothing compared to you actually going to a farmer's market and getting it super fresh right there from the man that grew it and picked it and brought it to you. One of the most interesting things I have ever heard when I visited a farmer's market, and I know this is coming, is this farmer, and he was so passionate about growing and bringing things to market. He knew healing modalities. He knew a lot of information, and I was just blessed to be able to listen to him. But one of the things he said that he's working on is a grocery store that is outdoors. And you bring your cart and you clip things off of trees and pull it out of the ground, those types of things. So you can get things while they're still growing. So you can literally take them and shop that way instead of you actually going to a store and it making it feel so, you know, closed in, because your food comes from nature and that connection needs to be made. So I thought that was pretty freaking interesting. And he said it's already in the works, and they're here in Atlanta. So I'm so grateful to actually get the heads up on that. So
that is amazing. I would love that. I mean, we already go out to like the farms where they do strawberry picking and things like that, which is a great experience to you talk about having the farmer pick it and bring it to market. It's a great experience for you to actually have the access to go pick something and know exactly where it came from. And you can taste the difference. It reminds you of when we were small, you know, that kind of, you know, flavor that we've gotten away from. And then when you go back, it's like, man, this apple and this apple there's not even a contest.
It doesn't even compare.
So let's go into GMO because we're starting to hear more about that. And GMOs have been around for quite some time, but now Monsanto and some of their shenanigans,
yeah.
Which that's a whole show on its own.
Oh my God, Monsanto. I know you mean well, but
yeah. You know, the whole premise, which it's politically speaking, it's a joke that they're saying, well, they're allowing it because we want to be able to feed more people who don't have food and around the world. And yet that number hasn't decreased in 20 years of how many people don't have food. So it's not, whatever they think they're telling us is not working, because they got enough GMO stuff to feed everybody 18 times over if they wanted to. So that's not obviously why they're doing it. However, talk about what GMOs are, and this is going to scare some people, but kind of go down the list of GMO products.
Oh my God.
Uh-oh.
I wish I had gone downstairs to pull some old stuff out of the pantry to show y'all.
Oh, wow.
Oh my gosh, yes. So, that's a loaded question. Okay, let's get into it. GMOs. So what is a GMO? What is GMO anyway? It's genetically modified organisms, basically. Something that is, they went in, they changed the DNA of it. It grew differently. and it didn't grow the way that it was supposed to grow. So say for instance, we can take a human, which is something basic. We all understand. Say if I went in and I genetically modified you, Clark, and you came out with black skin on your face and white skin on your arms, right? So how does that feel? It doesn't feel, you could get along in life, right? You actually might be famous because of it, right? But it still doesn't feel right. Like you'll always look around and be like, I'm the only one up in here with white arms. Like, what's going on with me? So that's just a basic analogy. It's something that's it's just not quite right. And it's not the natural way of doing things. Now, why did this happen? Why are we doing this? One of the reasons we are doing this is because, like I said, things are speeding up. People want what they want when they want it now. Not even now, they want it yesterday. And so the government has responded to that because that proves that you as a country can continue to move forward, right? It proves your civilization that you've arrived, right? So here in the US, and I can't really speak for abroad, I'm sure they're doing the same things because they look at the United States as this pivotal kind of, they look at us like we're up on a pedestal for whatever reason. And that's a whole nother episode, but they look at us that way. And one of the things that's happening is, we mass produce, man. We mass produce so much food. There are documentaries upon documentaries of people who dumpster dive every day after grocery stores, right? To see that they're throwing away cases of fresh bananas, that they're throwing away cases of fresh kale. They're throwing away cases of raw almonds, not just some little packets, not just 1 or 2 bananas. We're talking about cases, y'all. And you know where it goes? In the trash, into the trash place, into the incinerator, and it's gone. And we keep on mass producing it, right? We have a system to create the food, but we don't have a way to distribute it because people are still homeless, hungry, starving.
Yep.
So we've missed the mark there. So I get Monsanto responding to it. And let's put this out there now, because people want to blame Monsanto and I feel like there's always 2 sides to every coin. That's how I feel about this. And I feel like Monsanto has responded to a need that they saw at the expense of the person who's willing to buy into that because they got that need. You see what I'm saying? So if you go buy their stuff, I responded to it. Now this genetically modified stuff might give you a little bit of cancer. You might get some lumps in your breast. You might get some, might have to, I suggest you have them kids before you're 30 because you might not be able to have them after that. And there's a lot going on because of it, right? But it's at the expense of those who want this stuff mass produced, fresh all the time, looking pretty in the stores, instead of going to the source of where their food comes from. You say, well, I ain't trying to go to no farm. Then you go to Monsanto. You go to who you feel you need to for what you think you need. And that's how that works. So they're responding to a need. And as a result, if you don't buy it, it goes in the trash. They don't go take it to homeless shelters, right? Someone else has to come in and be that conduit to get this stuff distributed to the people who are actually hungry. And unfortunately, that's how our country works. That's how it works. That's where we are right now. Now, one of the other things that is happening that people may not be aware of is that not all farmers are producing for Monsanto. There are farmers who don't, but please understand that they are blacklisted and you are told specifically not to buy from them. So understand that there are farmers who don't agree with this, who don't agree with you modifying my stuff, because if you modify that stuff and I put it in my body, my genetics then gets modified. Yeah. And here's the thing that we're learning now. Something called epigenetics is what's been at the forefront. And what epigenetics is your ability to eat the food in its original state and make any disease process lie dormant in your gene pool. Meaning that just because other people in your family had diabetes and cancer and this and that, you have the ability to make that gene stop with you and it never be passed on to any other legacy. That is the power of knowing where your food comes from and knowing what GMOs are and getting to these farmers that are so-called blacklisted, people who are not going to get the subsidies, people that are actually living crop to crop instead of these 6-figure farmers. So it's about knowing those things and deciding what's best for you. That's what it comes down to.
Can you just run off a few things that have been genetically modified that are in our stores right now?
Oh my God, yeah. Corn and anything that contains corn. It has been said that if you can find an original corn seed that has not been modified, it is worth about $20,000 right now. One seed.
Wow.
One seed is priceless. Every single bit of it right now. I think the last statistic I learned about probably last month was when I looked at these statistics. 99% of the corn that is produced is genetically modified. You can't find it. And if you're going to find those seeds, you have to get with a farmer who's blacklisted, who have preserved a portion of the crops. But here's what's happening though. Even those people like Monsanto, it's like, I'm giving you seeds to grow on your land. You don't grow these seeds, I'm coming from the sky and I'm going to spray your stuff. I'm going to spray it. And I'm going to have it where you still got to grow it the way I tell you to grow it. So these farmers that are blacklisted, just know that they are trying really, really hard to preserve humanity, to preserve what you put in your mouth. Like they're really trying hard because they understand and they don't feel comfortable giving you things that they know have been linked to cancer, have been linked to Alzheimer's, have been linked to heart disease. They don't feel comfortable giving you this stuff. So anything containing corn, like your Cheerios, your kids' cornflakes, those Kashi bars, all the things that people think are healthy, they wrap it up into something that says, oh, this is healthy, and every single bit of it is genetically modified. Soybeans, that's another one. People say, well, I'm going to switch to soy, right? Or I can go eat such and such because it's got a soy patty, right? I'm going to need for you to get a recipe and pat that patty together yourself. Like really get into your food, man. Stop playing these games.
Well, you said, hey, those two right there, just that's crazy. You got me nervous of it. I'm like, wait, where's the corn?
Some people are like, what you eat for breakfast? Not cereal.
Right.
Not cereal.
let's change the gears and go into the actual physical body as part of the wellness. And my first question that I hear just through the grapevine is that a lot of people, and you probably see this a lot of people don't like the whole concept of when you say working out, going to a gym, right? They know they need to get healthy, but they only know one way. Oh, I got to get a membership and I got to go after work, before work. And the thought of that drives me wild. Talk about talk about the fact that that's not the only way you can work out.
Mm-hmm. As a matter of fact, that's the least of the ways you can work out. Anytime, especially in the summer and the spring, winter as well. It's good for you to get outside and do some movement, get some fresh air, reconnect. It will work wonders for your spirit, not your body and your spirit. But some of the ways that people can start doing is something that I teach, which is movement moments, right? Because we know that 80% of how we look, how we feel comes from food, but the 20% comes from these other things, our ability to move, our mindset, right? It comes from the people we're around, things like that. Those things make up that 20%. The body was never made to sit. It was never made to sit and not do any movement. Now these studies are coming out showing that sitting is the new smoking. It's the new smoking. So even if you ain't going outside to take a break, you're still going to die just by sitting at your desk and skipping over your break, right? Wow. So the body's not made to sit, right? What happens when you sit, though? I think understanding what happens inside of the body is one of the things that needs to be understood. Your valves, the blood flow in your body, and not just blood, lymph fluid. And lymph is the key, right? People look at blood flow to the brain and things like that. And yes, you need those things, but you have twice as much lymph fluid in your body as you have blood. And when you're someone who's at risk for things like cancer, it's your lymph system that gets stagnant and allows cancer to set up and proliferate and do all these things. And so when you can get the lymph fluid and the blood flowing at the same time, you're stepping into that place of wellness. And that doesn't require you going to a gym. That doesn't require a gym membership. It just requires you to move. I don't care if you're doing arm raises for 2 minutes during your lunch break. I don't care if you're doing squats for a couple of minutes during your lunch break. Just move. There are things you can do no matter If you're a 400 pounder, if you're bedridden 600 pounds, you can still move your arms. You can still move your hands up and down. Just begin to move. Now, this not only allows that lymph fluid to start moving, but it also allows your mind to change, to say, I really can do something. I did something today to move myself closer to the wellness that I desire. And that really is what it's all about. It's not about coming out guns blazing. How fast can you run? How far can you push? How much weight can you lift without dropping it on your face? That's not serving humanity. It's not where we're going right now. People just need to move, right? They just need to get to a place where they've got these moments in their day, every day, that they can actually move. One of the things that I learned that I thought was very, very powerful, and I highly suggest if you're watching this, you go and get one. It is something called a rebounder. And it is that tiny little trampoline, the one little circle trampoline.
Mm-hmm.
They cost about $30, $20. If you go on Craigslist, you might be able to get one for $10, right? And I can't believe people are selling them, but it is a rebounder. One of the things I learned about rebounders is 7 minutes a day, 7 minutes a day, just 7 minutes a day on a rebounder moves your lymph fluid and gets it circulating in such a fashion that cancer can never set up.
Wow.
Just 7 minutes a day. One of the most powerful things I learned was that they would take patients who were bedridden with cancer, right? Take them out of the bed and sit them on the rebounder and actually just bounce their shoulders, just get some motion going. And they were able to come all the way back from being bedridden. So this is something very, very powerful that I think people overlook. And that doesn't require a gym.
Right.
It just requires you getting on the trampoline. And for the first time you get on it, your feet do not need to leave it. You just need to pivot your toes up and down. That's all you need for 7 minutes. And I think people have to understand the little things that we have around us before we go tackle this big gym and things like that.
When I had you on the show last night, you made a comment and someone kind of amened, and it was something you spoke about, but I'm just going to say what they said is that just because you're thin or you're not overweight does not mean you're healthy.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Yes, absolutely not. Has nothing to do with it. Nothing to do with it, quite honestly. And everybody's not meant to be thin. And I think, like I said, people are they're piecing health and fitness together, but wellness is what they're looking for. Wellness is what they want. They want to be right here, and they want to be right in their heart, and they want their bodies to match what's inside. And that's wellness. That's not going to a gym. That's not, you know what I mean? That's wellness. It's not going to hire a personal trainer for something specific. You know, that's people want wellness, and then they try to say, well, I might need this, and maybe I just need a chef, or maybe I just need and wellness is really what they want. And if they start there first, they could see what pieces they actually do need and actually be able to save some money.
So say that once again, and I know you said it from a different direction, but I want to make sure we capture this on the recording. What is your definition of wellness again?
Yes. So my definition, so in order for me to tell you that, I have to tell you what I feel like health and fitness is, okay? Because health, fitness, and wellness are three different things. They can coexist. Most people have one without the other. So what fitness is durability, functionality. How fast, how far, how hard, how heavy can you run, jump, push, pull? That is what fitness is. It is your body's durability. Has nothing to do with the body systems inside. The body systems inside, your digestive system, your peripheral nervous system, your central nervous system, right? Your endocrine system. Systems working together in harmony is your health. So there are people that feed their bodies what they need, and their systems work together in harmony, but they can't run a mile. They are not durable. And if anything gets to chasing them, they in trouble, right? They in trouble. So fitness is durability. Health has to do with body systems working together, right? And part of those systems working together is like any other system you have, like your computer has different systems. Your business has different systems. There is a filter for the clients you've got coming in. There is a filter to keep spam off of your computer. Heck, there's a filter in your house. There's a filter in your car. There's one in your body too, and that's your liver. It keeps everything working in harmony. So people have to understand how these pieces come together and know that in and of itself is your health. has nothing to do with how far you can run, how much you can lift, right? Because bodybuilders binge all the time and their body systems go up and down, which is not healthy, right? Wellness bridges these two things, your durability and the functionality of your body systems. It unites those things with your soul, your mind. So it brings these pieces together for you so that everything works in harmony. That is what wellness is. And I think that is what people are after. They are after, like, I don't want every spring to come and I need to be motivated to go do something with myself. Why can't I stay this way year round for the rest of my life? Why can't I feel good all the time? And that has nothing to do with you pushing weights. That has nothing to do with your digestive system being all that great. That has to do with your soul and your mind uniting with all of that.
I'm so glad you asked that question, because I'd never heard it broken down so clearly, and it all makes sense because I do know people who have died who were fit, and so it makes sense, right? Mysteriously. I don't mean like a chronic disease, but just overnight, and it does make sense now that you can be fit and not be healthy. So
absolutely,
I never thought about it in that regard. With the little minutes we have left. Man, time flies.
Oh man, it did, didn't it? Wow.
I got to touch on the last thing you just said, which is your mind, or in this case, we'll talk about your spirit.
Yeah.
Because I believe at the beginning, you even talked about the fact that it's the thing that you harness first. So it seems like it might be the steering wheel to the vehicle. Talk a little bit about the importance of having your spiritual being fit and healthy. And are you an advocate of things like meditation and yoga and Tai Chi and all of these things that seem to bring your spiritual wellness to a center point?
Yes, absolutely. And I feel like you said, your spirituality is key to everything. Now I want to touch on this a little bit because I think that we've been taught some things that I'm just gonna spit it out. We think that just because we're religious, we're also spiritual.
Oh, preach! Don't.
We think, because there's a lot of empty people sitting in churches on a regular basis, and it's unfortunate. They're missing that pivotal piece that's needed to take them to another level spiritually. But it is what they seek, and I don't know how to bridge that gap for them. But here's what I'm going to say when it comes to health and wellness. When it comes to you being healthy, you being well long term, what you think about yourself drives the decisions of what you choose to eat. It drives the decision of who you hang around. And if all your friends, they always say that health and wellness rolls in the same circles, and so does obesity and disease. Very seldom do you see a lot of super fit people with people that are barely making it. They're just not in the same circles. And it's the same for wealth. There's levels to it. They're just not in the same circles. But one of the key things that we have to understand is that our spirit is separate from our body. And I think everybody agrees with that. I don't know many people that feel like there's no spirit inside of this shell, this body, this thing. And when we know that, we understand that they both need to be fed, right? Spirit can't be fed an apple. Okay. Spirit has to be fed. It can't eat celery. It can't eat that. It needs something else. And how do you find out what it needs? Well, you go inside and you find out. How do you go inside? You learn the art of meditation. You learn how to pray and pray in such a fashion that your relationship with your source, with your guide, is one that you feel is unlimited. And it's one that is actually a working relationship. What do I mean by working relationship? Because a lot of people are praying to their God, a God, and I'm not here to distinguish your Buddha versus their this or their that, or, as long as you feel like the source you are connected to is an unlimited one, As long as you feel like the source you're connected to is an unlimited source, that when you speak, it manifests, that when you ask, it is given, then that is the source that you go to when it's time to quiet your mind and pray and feed your spirit. So now it doesn't matter. Like, we create these different religions and things like that. And I think number one, a lot of times we condemn other people because they don't believe what we believe, but they're still manifesting because they feel like their source is an unlimited one. That is the key. It's not about this particular sect versus this sect. We all need that unlimited source to be well, because that spirit has to be fed first, and then we have to get this body to match that. Okay. So yes, I'm a proponent of meditation, and yoga just makes it slow. Yoga makes the body conducive to a lot of different things. You're able to really bend and twist and pray and do all these different things that actually allow you to enter a space of worship, that a lot of people are just like, ooh, my knees are bad, I can't get down there, I'm gonna have to just pray from the bed.
Right.
But to me, there's an opening up, there's a releasing of, and there's a letting go of, when you're connected to source that says, I'm here, I'm available, download to me what it is I'm supposed to be doing. And it takes you being able to do that to get to that point. And I think a lot of people miss that, and they keep right on ticking in the church pew, and they come in empty and they leave empty. And the richest place in the world is the graveyard. And it's sad, because a lot of lives are unlived, untapped beauty, a lot of things that they could bring to humanity that they just don't do. And then there's other pieces to that, that I believe, that I know to be true, from my own experiences, that I don't think, I'd share on this broadcast. Because they're gonna be like, oh, she crazy.
That's a whole nother program.
Baby. They're not ready for that.
Well, Coach Angie K, you have truly enlightened, and I can honestly say it fits well within the category. Everything you spoke to today of taking back your life, which is the focal point of this Google Hangout series. Before we let you go, let everybody know where they can find you. You've got a lot of things going on, how they can inquire about having you as their personal coach, and anything else you want to leave.
Absolutely. So currently I have, because we ended with spirituality, I'm so glad we ended there, because I have been doing some research on what specific foods actually boost that spiritual drive for you. And I'm doing a 4-week course online with a spiritual intuitive whose zone of genius this is. We're coming together to bring you everything you need: the shopping list, the daily meditations, the information, even tests on how you can look at yourself and see how you're closing down spiritually. And we're going to strategically help you open up to create that working relationship with your source or with your God. And so that is going on. If you want to be a part of that and get your free downloads, it's all free, always free. You can go to divawellnesslive.com and register for that event. And it will be a 4-week Google Hangouts like this one, for people to tune in live with me and that intuitive. And we're going to really dive deep into why we've got depression, why we can't let go of weight, why we can't manifest money, all these different things, and what foods you can eat to turn that thing around, because it's all within your power, and it's easier than you think. So we've got that going on at divawellnesslive.com. If you say, well, I don't want to be in the crowd, I just need something specific, you can get my full and undivided attention at freesessionwithangie.com. That questionnaire will allow me to see how you and I can spend the best, our time can be as effective as possible together. So freesessionwithangie.com is where you want to go. And that will get my full and undivided attention, so that I can give you some coaching around whatever it is you've got going on. Other than that, I Periscope every single night. I'm on Periscope, I'm on Twitter, and I'm on Instagram, and my handle is the same across the board. It's at Live and Thrive On. I promise no fluff scopes. So any information that I give you are step-by-step strategies for you to walk away and really walk into your wellness.
Love it. Thank you so very much. It's been a pleasure. I'm sure I'll see you around Hotlanta.
Yes, you will. Yes, you
All
will.
right. Hey guys, again, thank you, Coach Angie K. Please visit my website at www.clarkgarrison.com. That's KLARQUE for those who don't know. You can get a copy of the aforementioned book that I talked about earlier. And let me know if you'd like for me to speak to your audience. You can work with me as well, one-on-one as a coach, and get more information about taking back your life series on that same website. Our next guest will be Dr. Maisha Claiborne. That's going March 12th at noontime. She'll be speaking to us about holistic and herbal practices. You don't always have to go to your pharmacy. She's going to talk to you about how to cure almost everything through holism and also using herbs. And she's a fantastic knowledge base. You don't want to miss this show. Thank you so very much. And be sure to tell a friend. Remember, don't be average. The average is the best of the worst, and the worst of the best. And you don't want to be either of those things. So thank you so very much. See you next time. We're out.
Bye.